The most feared predator on the planet. It is the great white shark. Now, the great white shark is the largest predatory fish on the planet. When I say largest, a fully grown female can grow to be 6 meters long, weigh as much as a ton, has 300 teeth that are as sharp as a kitchen knife, and it can bite through flesh, bone and blubber like a chainsaw through chocolate, which is actually pretty incredible because these great white sharks are found off the coast of South Africa. It's where they come to hunt for their favourite food, seals, which are packed with energy-rich blubber, which is a thick layer of fat that keeps them insulated, but it's packed with calories for all the sharks to eat. And how the great white shark hunts is firstly by using its olfactory senses, like its sense of smell. In fact, it's said that a shark can detect a teaspoon of blood in an Olympic swimming pool-sized area of water, but also using an organ that runs down the length of their bodies called the lateral line, that's laden with hair cells that pick up the tiny vibrations in the water, but also they use their eyesight to hunt for their prey, and they will come right up from the depths, going at full speed towards a seal, but as soon as they get to within no more than a metre or so, the shark rolls its eye back into its head to protect it, but it's not steering blind because sharks also have a special sense inside their snout called electroreception, which picks up the electrical signals from their prey and the Earth's magnetic grid. And it will smash into a seal, performing what is probably one of the greatest predatory moments in history, called a breach, where they literally leap right out of the water with a seal in their mouths. And quite often the shark will bite the seal, giving it a serious injury, and will pull back and either let it bleed to death or come back to finish it off. But if they don't catch the seal on the first strike, then they pretty much just give up because they can't turn as sharp as a seal and they can't catch one as easily in a chase. Of course, sharks have always been perceived as mindless man-eating monsters, and that's mainly down to when the movie Jaws came out 51 years ago. It cemented the image of the mindless, man-eating, monstrous killing machine in the public image. But also, if a great white shark attacks someone, it makes the front lines of the newspaper. But almost all attacks from great white sharks are either cases of mistaken identity, or when the sharks think that a human is a seal. And only about 8 to 12 people each year are killed by sharks, and about 10 to 20 million sharks each year are killed by man, and it's all for the sake of an Asian delicacy called shark fin soup, where sharks are basically dragged out of the sea just so their fins can be hacked off, and the rest of them is just dumped back in the sea. But there are people working to stop this. I mean, like Steve Backshall, my wildlife hero, has actually spent a lot of his life trying to tell people that sharks are not the mindless man-eating monsters the media makes them out to be. Because, as he pointed out, if it was true, he would have been eaten by a shark years ago. But you can go diving with great white sharks, but I mean, off the coast of South Africa, you can actually go in a shark diving cage and see the sharks, but of course it's not really advised you go swimming out with them in the open ocean. But there is a place in the Pacific Ocean just off the west coast of Mexico called Guadalupe Island where you can actually swim in the open ocean with great whites. But yeah, that's really not for the faint-hearted. This is the range of the great white sharks on the south coast of Africa. Of course, the next animals I'm going to show you are some of the most important but also misunderstood vultures. Now, vultures are birds of prey, but of course well, a lot of the animals that I find most interesting are predators that actually hunt animals. I mean, vultures, while they're scavengers, I mean, they're basically just predators going around getting their meal the easy way, if you think about it. But yeah, here we've got the griffin vulture, the hooded vulture, the Egyptian vulture, and I'm honestly not sure what species this is, but vultures are found in Africa, and of course, unfortunately, they have one of the most unfair reputations of all because they are known as the undertakers of the bush. I mean, when an animal dies, vultures will consume it, and of course that prevents the spread of diseases such as Ebola, botulism, malaria and tuberculosis, because they have very strong stomach acid that not only breaks down the meat, but also the diseases that could be held in a carcass. And they actually have quite a disgusting defence mechanism where if you are stupid enough to get close to a vulture, they will actually throw up the contents of their stomach, including the stomach acid, right into your face. I mean, it's enough to put off a lion or a hyena. Of course, vultures are very intelligent birds, and they also have some of the best eyesight. That's about 8 times more powerful than ours. And once they spot a carcass, when one vulture sees it, they go down, and of course it acts like a network to all its friends, and they all pile in and feed. But unfortunately, it's their scavenging nature that has been landing them in trouble, because vultures are some of the most threatened animals on the planet. And in Africa, it has gotten a lot worse over the last few decades, and there are many reasons for that. I mean, the worst two for me are farmers and poachers, because farmers use a veterinary drug on their cattle. I can't remember the name of it, but it is a very powerful drug that's used on cattle, but it's been banned in much of Asia, but it still hasn't been banned in a lot of Africa. And of course, when the cows die, the vultures consume the cow and the drug with it, and it builds up in their systems, causes problems like kidney failure, and then eventually it kills them. But of course, poachers are by far the worst. I mean, they kill vultures because they give away their positions to the park rangers, but of course they either shoot them or, even worse, poison them. And vultures only have one chick every 2 years, and quite often they bring food back to their nest, and if they bring poisoned meat back, then that's 2 generations of vulture wiped out like that. And it's actually believed that we've lost about 90% of vultures in Africa. In much of their range, they've been lost in 90 to 95%. And without these animals, then carcasses are just going to build up in the bush and spread diseases like Ebola, botulism, tuberculosis and malaria, which won't just affect the wildlife, but also affect the humans. And unfortunately, because not everyone shares my opinion about vultures, because I personally think they are absolutely beautiful birds. People just look at them and are all like, "Oh, they're ugly creatures. Why should we bother trying to protect them?" But without the undertakers of the bush, then diseases are going to spread all over and cause problems for not only the wildlife but also for humans. Because this is their range. And now I'm going to show you a member of the weasel family, but also the most fearless animal on the planet. It is the rattle, also known as the honey badger. Now, as their name suggests, these animals do love honey. In fact, they will raid beehives to get at honey. But of course, they are in the weasel family, so they have a very powerful bite. In fact, they can bite through flesh, bone, and even wire. And they even have some immunity to venomous snake bites. And they will even take on some of the most venomous snakes in Africa. And then, if they get bitten by a venomous snake, like a black mamba, they can just sleep it off. And also, they can even chase away animals much bigger than themselves, like leopards, jackals, and even fully grown lions. I mean, that's quite often why they're called the most fearless animals on the planet. Of course, a few years ago, I watched a documentary about honey badgers that was about one honey badger in captivity, and his name was Stoffel, and no matter how much his keeper tried, he just kept escaping from his enclosure, but just escaping, causing havoc, and then going back in. And that guy just made me laugh. Because although honey badgers may look cute and cuddly, they are in the weasel family and have a very ferocious bite. In fact, there's no doubt that if I was to try and cuddle a honey badger, it would probably shred me. It would tear me apart, and I would need a lot of stitching to patch me up. Because honey badgers are also, unfortunately, running into conflict with beekeepers because they do like honey. They are going after the beehives, which is unfortunately causing conflict between humans and honey badgers. But there are people working to stop this conflict with new ingenious methods to keep them out. Of course, they're not endangered or threatened at all. And of course, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of them out in Africa. But just remember, if you ever do see or hear a honey badger, don't go near it, because you will probably end up getting ripped apart. Of course, here is badgers of the world. I mean, there's a lot of badgers. I mean, I didn't know there were more species, but still, that is incredible. I mean, they come in all different shapes, sizes, and also they come in all different shapes, sizes, and colours. Of course, they are all in the weasel family and have a very ferocious side. Right. That is the range of the honey badger. Seems that you also get them in Asia as well. Right. And that concludes my PowerPoint on 18 animals of Africa. I'm hopefully going to be going to Africa in June next year.